right, it's dyno day. It is Monday after Thanksgiving weekend, the 27th, and trailer's hooked up. It's 7:26. We're on our way to Outfront Motorsports in Buena Park, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, there's a lot of interesting comments on the last video. One that stuck out in my head is that John's dyno isn't very good as far as giving accurate or high wheel horsepower numbers. I don't know a lot about dynos. I don't know why one would be better than the other necessarily, other than quality of dyno, I guess, the company who makes it. I don't know, but it's a little bit stuck in my head. I think we've covered the whole gambit of horsepower rating that this car is going to fall within. I think we had the lowest one was guess was around 330 horsepower. The high guess was like 440 something horsepower, and I think we're gonna definitely fall somewhere in line in between those two numbers. I'd like to say at first in my mind I'd be disappointed if the car wasn't putting out something in the fours, and I was thinking about that and why I would be disappointed. I'm not really sure. I think that's just the desire in us to want to have big high horsepower motors, because the car at the end of the day, if it feels super fast, if you're not going, man, I need more horsepower at any point in the times that you're driving it, I don't know why necessarily. You just need to see a bigger number, right? But we can all relate to that. So having said that, I am hoping for something in the fours for whatever the reason. But more importantly, it's about making sure the car is running healthy, that the air-fuel ratios are safe, and I'm doing everything within, the comfortable limits of a stock J35. So yeah, we're gonna see where the numbers are at and how it's running, and then hopefully make some adjustments. Car's all fueled up with the proper gas to make maximum horsepower, and we're gonna get there, get pulled in, and I'll check back in with you guys when I get the car pulled out and set up, see where John wants me, all that good stuff. All right, see you in a minute. All right, so we are here, and I'm gonna get the car backed out, probably let it warm up a little bit, and then see where John wants me. He's got to switch out the back tires, get the paddles off of it, get some dyno tires on it. So here we go. So I was wrong right off the bat, but I was just going off previous knowledge from the guy that had it before me. It's just a T4 turbo. It's not a T3, T4. It's just a straight T4 turbo. So there you go, learning something new already. Not a motor specialist. I can do maintenance. That's about it. They didn't make it easy to get in there, did they?
No, not at all. I mean, they assume once it's running and done, you're not gonna have to go in here.
Right, ever again. All right, more news, more good news. There is no tuning port on the car to actually change the tune. It's got a Motec M48. It's like an old school 20-year-old computer, and there's no tuning port. So we can't change anything, and without taking the rear seat out and doing a bunch of work, they can't get into it today. So what we're gonna do is basically a base dyno. We're gonna put it on there and see what it makes, and yeah, go from there.
Tell you about your master cylinder?
No.
Your clutch is like an on-off switch.
Yeah.
If you take, I bet it's a 3/4.
Yeah.
If you change it to a 5/8, it'll feel more like a street car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is terrible.
Yeah, I never really cared for it. I just keep getting used to it.
Really bad.
You're gonna have to re-explain that to me.
It'll say on the front of the master cylinder, it'll be engraved on there what size it is.
Yeah.
This is probably a 3/4.
Okay.
It might even be a 7/8. It's probably a 3/4, but go to a 5/8.
So you made 352 to the rear wheels on my dyno.
Yeah.
We add 50% more to that to come up with a rear wheel horsepower, engine horsepower.
Okay.
So you add another 175 to that, so it's for 525 engine horsepower.
Is what it's making.
Is what I would be calling this motor right here, which is a really stout motor.
Yeah.
You do have some boost creep right here. This is your horsepower curve right here, and you see you're right at 16 pounds during the final pull.
Yeah.
But this line, the fact that it just keeps on going up and up and up, is not normal. Normally, this would come straight up, it would flatten off, and it would just be totally flat, like flatline, like this.
Okay.
And so the fact that you have boost creep is a function of your wastegate being too small for the motor, the turbo, the whole combination you have. That
Okay.
wastegate is just borderline not big enough.
Okay.
You know, a bigger, you understand, they make different sizes. It's like a 38 millimeter
Right.
wastegate. They make a 50 millimeter, and when the piston opens up more, it just wastes all the exhaust, and it can flatline the boost curve.
Okay.
The concern with that is that at high RPM, you have uncontrolled boost where it just keeps on winding, go up and up and up. Not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you only have maybe 3 pounds of boost creep, but it does keep on going up and up and up.
Okay.
Ideally, you just have a flat line.
Right.
So it is what it is. The only way to correct that is to change your wastegate. Maybe put a different wastegate on there. You know, was that a Turbo Smart?
Yeah.
So the I don't know about that one, but there are some like the
Tile?
no, not the Tile. The Tile's a great wastegate. The Turbo, not Turbo Smart, Turbonetics. So their wastegate, although it had a 38 millimeter piston, it would only open up halfway. So it
Yeah.
only opened up 18 millimeters of the 38 millimeters, and it just wasn't enough. The Tile one opens all the way. The piston comes all the way out,
Yeah.
38 millimeters. So it's a full clear shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know about this one whether, and, you know, it's a function thing. I mean, you could try different wastegates. You could put another wastegate on and say, hey, look, it doesn't have boost creep anymore. Or you just say, look, I know I have a little bit of boost creep, but it's not 15, it's 16 pounds at the end. So there's no reason to go any more. Horsepower's already coming over the top, right?
Right.
So there's no reason why you would ever rev more than that right there.
So when it breaks up at the end, because I've done that before going up hills, is that just the rev limiter?
It might be. There was a little bit of hiccup going on there. I don't know what that was. We'll make another pull and see. I'll look at the RPM here and see where this is. Do you use this, and do you use the light on here?
I don't. The light comes on when the car starts, but I've never seen it come on when I'm driving it.
So you push this to see where your boost gauge is set at.
Yeah.
It won't turn on till 12. So you rotate this down.
Okay.
I'm pushing in and doing it. So let's say I go to 65. Now it will turn. The light will turn on at 6,500.
Oh, okay.
So let's try this. Let's just go down to 4.
See if it's working. Okay.
That's why it's never come on, because you had a 12,000.
Okay.
So let's just say 6,500.
If I was at 12 grand, the motor would have.
Yeah, a long time.
So these are all third gear pulls?
Third gear pull. Yeah.
Okay.
We do all the dynos in third gear. Same thing there again, and
Yeah.
it happened at like 6 grand.
Yeah.
So really, you're done at 6 grand with whatever they're doing.
Whatever the computer set
Yeah,
up?
whatever they're doing there. But there's no reason to be more than 6 grand because you're already peaking over on horsepower.
Right.
That's a function of the cams and the motor and things like that. So
Right.
I'll turn that down to 6 and we'll see. But that little rev little thing is happening, you know, exactly the same.
Right.
So they probably have some kind of rev limiter there, and that's okay. It's because you already peaked over on horsepower.
Right.
You need to leave it there anyway.
Okay.
So why don't you stand there, and then you can watch your tack and you can see the light.
Okay.
You stand back there so you don't get anything from the tire.
Yep.
Good right thing. Yeah, so now it comes on right at 6 grand, and that's right where you're.
I was gonna say it didn't break up as bad that time.
Well, it still has the same little
The
pump.
same little, yeah.
Yeah, it still had it, right? So that last pull was the violet color.
Yeah.
And that's right here, the violet one did the exact same thing. I mean, whatever it is, it's like a rev limiter coming on, and it's right about 6,000 RPM.
Got it.
So you have boost creep. Your air-fuel ratio is not super desirable as far as, let me show it to you here. So your air-fuel ratio is in the 12.5 range, maybe 12 on one pull, and you see it varying quite a bit. There's all three of these, and it's red right here, right? But what happens is at the beginning of the pull, you can be a lot more lean than you are here. You're starting richer at the beginning of the pull, and then you become leaner at the end of the pull. You would almost want it's inclined like this. You'd rather have it inclined like this, where it starts off a little leaner and becomes a little bit more richer at the top end.
Right.
So that would be nice, but you're going to have to put a tuning port in. Get a tuning port before that could ever happen.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what the ignition timing is, but that's pretty much. You probably got what you came here for as far as finding this information out.
Wanted to make sure it was healthy. It seems healthy.
Yeah, it sounds good. I did look at your boost gauge. I'll look at your boost gauge one time.
Okay.
Just to make sure everything's reading correctly. Going to 16
because the boost creep.
Yeah, well,
but
it should show up there, but sometimes you get sand in those gauges where they literally have like a wall where they hit, like, it could happen at 10, it just goes up to 10, it never goes anymore.
Right.
Although boost is going up, the needle is just stuck there. But whatever it is, that thing doesn't show everything there.
Right.
Like, so that negative 22 is vacuum when it goes into boost. So let's when it goes positive, that's boost. So I'll do a steady state thing where you can see it.
Okay.
And we'll compare the two. So that showed 9 and that showed 10. So that's only 1 pound off.
Right.
Up until whenever, now. Yeah, it's really pretty darn close.
Okay.
But that's a super accurate gauge. Nothing, it is what it is, but it's close.
So would you make any changes at this point?
Not really. I mean, I don't know what the ignition timing, but when you say it's been for years and you ran like this, I wouldn't be running anything less than race gas. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That 100 octane, I would not be saying that would be a good idea to be doing anything like that. 110 octane or somewhere in that range would be what I would suggest.
Got it.
You could be a little bit richer on the top end and maybe a little bit leaner on the bottom end. There's no reason to raise the rev limiter because you're done with horsepower.
Right.
It's just it's just a lot of power down below. I mean, this thing's got to run really well, actually.
Yeah, it really does. Well, all right, we found out exactly what I wanted to know, and here's kind of the big takeaway on it. It's funny, I was texting Haley too, and she said, "So is it making less horsepower than what you thought or what you wanted?" And it's a yes and no. I didn't realize, and somebody commented in the last video, I think it was maybe the same guy, who said to make, what I thought it was making at the wheels, that it would be making somewhere around 600 at the crank. And I guess I just didn't really realize how much horsepower was lost between the driveline to the ground. So I thought the car would make somewhere around 500 horsepower overall, making low force to the wheels. And obviously that's not the case. And I don't pretend to be any kind of expert at this, guys. I'm learning a lot as I go. But so to answer that in short, the car is making what I was hoping it was making, which is 525, right on 525 crank horsepower, which is a lot. And it's getting 356 of that to the ground. So no, that's actually what I was hoping for. Just surprised at the loss of power in that process. But AFRs are good. He said, by the way, all great guys. If you guys need work done, I wouldn't hesitate to take my car back there and have them do it. I talked to John a lot at the end about things I want to do. We'll get into that in a second, but just want to say first and foremost, really nice people. Brian, younger guy, helping me out. John, I think he's one of the owners or is the owner, but just solid people. So AFRs were really good. As we found out, the Motec EC does not have a port. So he wouldn't have been able to make changes if we needed to, but luckily everything lined up in a safe zone that he was happy with. He said basically that he was hoping it'd be a little bit leaner on the ramp up, acceleration, and a little bit richer in the decel when you're letting off the gas. It was slightly reverse of that. but he said it's not enough to worry about. It's completely safe to drive just the way it is. Other than that, you know, not knowing timing and stuff like that, his overall takeaway was car's making plenty of power. He wouldn't want to change it. It is a stock J35. It doesn't need more horsepower. He thinks I'd be, you know, beyond the safety limits of what this stock motor can hold horsepower wise. And that got me into asking him if I wanted to build it, right? If we wanted to do rods and pistons and head studs to throw more power at it, roundabout, what would that cost? And he just, you know, gave me a rough ballpark, like 8 to 9 grand to do that. Which is you know, isn't a horribly unreasonable number. Like, you know, John's thing is saying that, in his opinion, it's borrowed time with a stock motor set up like this with this much boost being thrown at it. And in his mind, it's just a matter of time until you kill the motor, which he's probably right. And by spending the money to do those things, you know, even if you didn't want to throw more power at it, you'd have a reliable platform that you don't have to, you know, necessarily have a throwaway motor, but something that's going to last year after year after year after year without really worrying about it. If we wanted to put more power to it, he recommended a different turbo. I don't remember the spec on what he said, but it was just more curiosity for me. But then, you know, if I crept into that 600 crank horsepower area or more and mid fours at the wheels, his opinion again was I'd be exceeding the limits, safety limits of the Mendiola 2D transmission that's in the car. His opinion is those transmissions are great for 500 horsepower, anything over that, and you start getting into that risky level of blowing one up. So my takeaway from all of it, horsepower, great. John said the cars runs fantastic. I'm probably not going to change anything. If it, you know, it's because, as like all of you guys know, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I don't have a great history of keeping toys for really long periods of time. And if you're going to put 9 grand into this car, you're not going to get that 9 grand out of it if I were to sell it. So that's, the car's, you know, going to have a max retail area, and I'm probably at that right now with the work I've done. So that would be money thrown away if I thought I would, you know, if I ended up selling this car in a couple of years. If I was like, hey, this is going to be our family car for another, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus years, I think I would want to do it, because I don't want to have to think about, you know, poking a hole in the motor out there going up China wall. So yeah, so other than that, he did point out, like I said earlier, the master cylinder for the clutch was the wrong size. Somebody did replace it in the past because it doesn't match the other one for the brake. So I knew that, didn't know anything about them, but the clutch is either on or off. There's zero in between. And that's the thing Brian said first thing. It was like, dude, this is, how do you put up with this, especially like having to pull it into the trailer? And like I joked, that's why I kind of pretty much got good at full sending it right into where it needs to be. But I did buy the correct master cylinder for that. You know, while I'm here, it's an easy thing to do myself at home. And he said it'll feel much more like a car. You're gonna have all that cushion play in the clutch pedal of where you can just maneuver it around real easily and not feel like you have to be right in one little spot to get it going. So glad that got done. I'm excited. I feel good about everything now, and I'm not wondering anymore, which is really the point of today. So guys, thanks for hanging out. If you watched the whole video, as always, I appreciate you guys. A lot of good people. I can just tell, just a lot of good people have been coming to the channel and watching and commenting. Just all like-minded people like myself, and we've all got this passion for these hobbies, and I don't know, it's fun to do this stuff, man. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, click it. Why not? Why not help me out? Encourage me to do more of this stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, the plan is to be out for New Year's. I have seen in the group post or messages that the New Year's group is pretty much falling apart again. So let's hope it ends up happening, but that's still in the works right now. Otherwise, I'm on my way back home, and we'll catch you on the next video. If you have any questions, drop them down below. But guys, as always, like I said, appreciate you. See you on the next one. Bye.